Last week, we talked about the number one threat to small business owner and franchisee success, which is everything that exists in the I don't know what I don't know void. But today we're going to talk about the number two threat that is close on the heels of that one, and that is time. There's never enough time to get all the things done that need to be done in order to really grow and scale your business, right? That's how it feels anyway. And of course, we know that everybody on the planet has the exact same amount of time each and every day, 24 hours, right? Unless it's your last day, of course. We don't want to talk about that. So we all have the exact same amount of time, and we know that how we spend our time really depends on our own priorities. And what's important to me, that's what I'm going to focus my time on, and I'm going to make time for it throughout my day. But what's important to another business owner may be different, and they may prioritize their time differently. We know these things. But yet, even though scaling and growing and growing our revenues and growing our reach and prioritizing our own free time, our own sanity, despite the fact that all those things are very important to us, business owners struggle to make the time to do it. And one of the reasons that they struggle is because of the I don't know what I don't know factor. So see how these intertwine is that most business owners come in to business programmed mentally, thinking that the way to get ahead is to hustle and to grind. We've all been trained to believe that and to have the subconscious beliefs and habits that reinforce that the pathway to success is working harder, putting in more hours, just really like grinding a way through those first years of business. What do I mean? We are programmed to default into the hustle. Well, let's go all the way back to when the traditional school was established. And when I say traditional school, what I mean is you show up at 8 a.m. or around that time in the morning and you stay all day, and you go from class to class, or you sit in the same classroom even though the subject changes, and you follow the rules and you do your assignments and you get a grade, right? The reason that that school was originally formatted in this way was to prepare children to become factory workers, not to prepare children to become entrepreneurs or executives or billionaires who were running the country. No, no, no. To prepare children to become factory workers, the doers, the get it done. And when you do a good job, you get a little pat on the head. And when you do a bad job, you get a scolding and you get threatened. If you don't turn it around, bad things are going to happen. So this has been our experience from the time that we were very, very young, usually around 5 or 6 as young children. And when you go to school, you show up, you're told exactly where to sit, you're given an assignment, you're given a time frame to accomplish that assignment, you're judged on whether you meet that deadline and how well the quality of the work is. And that's all subjective based on the teacher, just like it would be subjective based upon a boss. And sometimes you can have a really fantastic teacher, and sometimes you can have a really crappy teacher, just like you can with a boss. And that is going to directly impact your ability to perform. However, many, many times that teacher is not held to any accountability in regards to the way that they teach, or the way that they speak to the students, or the way that they encourage or nurture certain students over others, same as bosses. So our whole lives, we have been programmed to be an employee and to buy into this idea of work more hours, produce more, produce at a higher quality more often. And that's what equals success. And because of this programming, because of this routine that we have been subscribed to, our subconscious just dials that in and implants it into our default, so that When you break free from being an employee and when you make the decision to become a business owner, consciously and logically, you're like, yes, I'm a business owner. But subconsciously, you are still an employee. Just now, you're an employee of your own company. And you are also, as an employee, aware that the only way to success is to do more, do more, do more, do more. So that's where you spend your time. And so as long as you're spending your time there, we're not creating more time to work on things that would be the things executives or entrepreneurs or billionaires work on. In fact, I had a client the other day who said to me, well, I know I have to be in the business for the first 2 years and I have to like really work all the hours myself, and that I'm going to be working like 60 to 80 hours a week for that amount of time. And then I can start to experience some of that freedom that I want in becoming a business owner. And I said, why do you believe that that's true? And he said, because that's what other business owners are telling me, that you really need to be in the business for the first 2 years. And as an outsider, being able to take a step back, I can see, well, you all are perpetuating that belief amongst each other. So you're looking into buying into this franchise. And when you call the other franchise owners and say, what piece of advice would you have? And they say, you have to be in the business for the first 2 years yourself, working 60 to 80 hours a week. And then that's what makes you successful. Well, guess what? The newbie comes in and follows that advice, and they grind and grind and grind. And then the 2-year mark comes in. What happens? They don't know how to stop grinding. They don't know how to spend their time differently, because the how to do it differently exists in the I don't know what I don't know void, as does the belief that it doesn't have to be that way. If you have the right strategies, it doesn't have to be that way. So how do you get those right strategies? Well, you have to take the time to learn them. You have to take the time to start filling in the void. And that's where the immediate struggle comes into play. So we offer all kinds of free seminars and boot camps and podcasts, right, that teach people different aspects of business that fill in that I don't know what I don't know gap. But do you know, people tell me all the time, well, I don't think I have time to attend. Well, what are you going to be doing instead? And the answer is, many times they're like, I don't know, but I have to work. Now, can you see the difference between the intentionality between coming to a seminar, a boot camp, an educational series where you're going to learn how to work smarter, not harder, versus the I have to work. I don't know what I'll be doing with my time, but I know that I have to work. And the belief that even though you don't know what subject matter you'll be working on, you don't know what activities you'll be doing, the belief is that somehow an hour spent doing is moving the needle for you more than an hour spent learning how to move the needle. So what it boils down to is that, like most things, how we spend our time isn't actually based in logic, it's based in emotion. People say you'll spend your time on what you prioritize. Well, let's talk about that. How do you prioritize things? It's not really through logic, it's through emotion. I have a friend who walked around for months with a very obvious hernia and didn't go to the doctor. Why? It wasn't because she couldn't make the time to make the doctor's appointment if she really just called up and made the appointment. It was because of all the emotions behind it. Well, I know what the doctor's going to say. He's going to say that I need to have hernia surgery, which is going to take me out of work, which means I can't earn money during that time and I can't provide for my family. So all of the fears around not being able to provide for her family led backwards to, I don't have time for a doctor's appointment for this obvious hernia, right? It was based in fear. But it doesn't always have to be the emotion of fear. It could be the emotion of love. It could be, hey, do you want to go on a girls' trip this weekend? Oh, I would love to, except my son, little Johnny, has 3 baseball games, and I wouldn't miss those baseball games for the world. And it's not because of guilt. For some moms, it might be guilt. I can't miss Johnny's games. I would feel so guilty. He expects me to be there, and I would be a bad mom. But for others, it's going to be like, I love every minute of watching him play. I do not want to miss a minute of his childhood. So that is what I want to do. And it's based in the emotion of love, that prioritization. So when we are in business and we're choosing to prioritize hustle and grind and the doing over the learning, what we're really prioritizing is certainty. I have been taught my whole life that working harder, working more hours, and putting in the hard work will get you to where you want to be. And that is a certain path in my mind to success. But taking time off to go an hour to this class that's going to teach me the secrets to moving faster, what if that doesn't work for me? It's not just going to be an hour. I'm going to learn something and then I'm still going to have to implement it. I really have this deadline I'm working on, and I could get this many things done towards that deadline, or I could learn about something that I can't apply immediately, right? Or perhaps it's even just, it's not going to make it that much faster, or I could attend it another time, so I don't need to prioritize it. But whatever it is, it's all based in the emotion of certainty. I'm certain if I keep doing this, I'll get to where I want to go. And I don't know if I spend my time doing that, if it's going to take me where I want to go. That's a falsity. It is, because working harder, more hours, grinding away is actually not going to get you to your ultimate vision. That's what got you to feeling like you bought a job. Right? That's what made you decide that you didn't want to be an employee of somebody else anymore, is that you didn't want that life of hustle and grind and do. You wanted a life of time freedom. You wanted a life of choices. You wanted a life of unlimited income. But the belief, your subconscious belief, is the doing will get you there. No, it's all the strategies you don't know that will get you there. So you have to make time to do those strategies. And that's the biggest mistake I see people make, is that they fool themselves into thinking that they don't have time to fill in the void of the I don't know what I don't know. And the biggest foolish thing that I see is people believing that by grinding away, that somehow one day it's going to open up their schedule to allow them to really study and learn the I don't know what I don't know. They don't know how, they don't know when, but they have this belief. After 2 years of grind, my schedule will open up and then I can learn how to move into more locations, right? So again, it all boils down to emotion and how we're looking at it. So since that's the case, and you know that's the case now, what I want to encourage you to do is take a deep breath, close your eyes, and ask yourself, what do you really want? Do you really want to grind away for the next 2 years to get to where you want to go? Or if you could snap your fingers today and have the lifestyle you wanted today, would you want that? Of course, we want to snap our fingers. We want it today. Well, the snapping of the fingers is taking time to fill in the void of I don't know what I don't know. That's what it is. You've got to set aside that time and you've got to protect it. That has to be the highest priority. It needs to be your baby. This is the time that nothing else can interrupt me. If I have to lock myself in a closet, if I have to turn off my phone so that people can't reach me, if I have to have faith that my business will not crash and burn when I spend 1 hour completely unplugged from my employees, but focused on learning the upper level strategies to grow my business, it's worth it, right? Okay, so that's the challenge, is if that's what you want, if you have that swag vision, that vision of a life of sanity, a life of wealth, and a life of gratitude instead of a life of grind, then you got to make the time. So, how do we create more time? How is it possible to create more time? Well, one, we have to deny the programming that our subconscious wants us to default to. Two, we have to acknowledge the emotions behind our priorities. And we have to ask ourselves, what is another way that I could serve those emotions? So if I'm afraid that I won't be able to provide for my family, right? As in the example of the needing hernia surgery. But if that's my fear, how can I ensure that I can provide for my family and at the same time make time for that hernia surgery? How can I do that? And if the answer is I don't know how to do that, then the priority should be, that's where I need to spend some time, is I need to find a way to do that. So I need to begin talking to other people who've had to take off of work for an extended period of time and find out how did they provide for their family. So I need to make time for that activity and prioritize that activity, because ultimately it serves the emotion that is holding me back from making that time. Same on the example of foregoing a girls' weekend to watch a kid's baseball tournament. And that is tied up in love, and the love of participating in those sports with your child. So if that's the case, then say, all right, how can I express my love for little Johnny? And how can I feel fulfilled in that I have supported him and that I have watched his performance? Because if he hits that grand slam we've all been waiting for while I'm not there, it would just kill me, right? But how can I do that and fulfill my time with my friends, or take some time for myself? And how can I do that loving Johnny, right? Still in the emotion of love. We need to ask ourselves that. If you don't know the answer, then again, we have to say, well, what I need to do is set aside an hour and prioritize an hour for me to think about this. Literally just thinking time can be a priority. So let me set aside some time for that. And it reduces the anxiety in taking that hour or that time to focus on that, because the end goal is the priority. The end goal is loving Johnny, right? So when it comes to business, if you're in the grind and you're like, I can't take time, I don't have the time to focus on or to go to these business building events or this networking group or this conference, or even to go, to the girls' weekend that I need for my own mental health. That could be part of it too, because you're grinding away in your business. But if you feel like you don't have the time, then what you have to say is, why am I grinding in the business? Why am I prioritizing that? Well, it's because I want to get ahead, because I want to succeed, and because I want to earn my freedom of time, and I want to earn the wealth that I believe comes with business ownership. Okay, how can I then honor the emotion of earning more, earning success, earning more time, freedom of time, and earning more wealth from my business, which we're not going to get into the word earn and all the different implications it has right now, but how can I serve that emotion without grinding? Again, if we don't know the answer to the question, then that has to be a priority. I have to prioritize finding the answers, because there's many ways to make $1 million, and very few of them involve working 80 hours a week as an employee inside a business. So I need to figure out those other ways. So I might need to prioritize time for that. And I can feel confident in doing it because it's tied to the emotion of what you really want to accomplish. Or let's say I know what to do, but I can't seem to find time to do it. I have a strategic plan and I know what needs to be executed, but I still am grinding away. Okay. Then every single day, you need to ask yourself, you need to take a few minutes. And this is why meditation is so powerful for people, but take some time to ground yourself and to center in on what the emotion is that you are actually wanting to accomplish. I want to accomplish security for myself and my family. I want to create freedom of time. I want to create wealth that allows us to experience things in life. Okay, today, what is the best thing I can work on to get that result? And when we take a moment and we take just a little bit of time, just a moment to ground yourself and to ask yourself that question, if you know the strategies that will take you there, it's going to be very obvious when comparing those strategies to the all the to-dos that there are inside the business that are just getting the operations done for the day. When you compare the two, it's very easy to say, I want to do the things that are going to move me ahead faster. I want to work on those growth strategies. I don't want to grind away on those little employee tasks that are just keeping us where we are. And when you have that desire, that eliminates procrastination and it will open up the time for you to do it. So we have an event coming up that I would love to have each and every one of you participate in. It's called Release Your Business Beast Boot Camp. Don't you love the name? I love the name because that's what we want to do is we want to release your business beast. We want to unleash you instead of keeping you trapped in that programming that you've had and keeping you concentrating on the things that are just really keeping you where you're at instead of taking you to where you want to be. So we're going to teach you the secrets. It's 3 days, only an hour a day. So 3 hours total. And when you apply the lesson that we just talked about in today's time section, you can carve out that hour a day to learn the strategies that are going to take you to your swag vision faster. So I hope that you join us.